So we're going to look at lesson 5, shapes of distributions. So in the first task, this is called skewed to the right. So we're going to get there in one quick second as I pull up the R code and then download my data file. So I just went here, opened up my data file. Now what I need to do is download that as an XLS. So now what I do is open up R, and then I import the data set right here from Excel, and it will be in my download file. So here, let's move this so you can see it. It just says browse, and then what I go into is the L5 data. It will be called that, and I just click down here on import. So now I go back to my L5 code. That read Excel step has been done. So one thing that I can do is create the histogram, and it's going to pop up down here. So I'm going to put this part here. So you go hist of L5 data pretest. This main equals is your title on the top, and then the X label is the test score, and then I'm going to put the color as red. So we see the histogram of the test scores, and then here I can do a box plot data of that. And then the box plot is defaulted to be actually vertical. So if you put horizontal as true, you can get a horizontal part, and we see there's an outlier there. And then you can also do the summary statistics by doing summary of this. And then those pop up down here. So you have the minimum, first quartile, median. Be careful because the mean is in there, and then it goes third quartile, and then the max. So on here, in talking about this, the shape of the distribution is called skewed to the right. So if I draw kind of like over the top of this, you see a tail to the right. So this is skewed right. And the reason there's that number so high up there, that outlier is moving the mean to the right. So the typical score, kind of hard to see, is I would say maybe if I try to find the middle of that, maybe about between 20 and 30. So on here, looking at the box plot below, there is one outlier. See that dot up there? The typical score I would say would be about 20 where the median is. It's the center of the box. And then that's the median. So there is one outlier. And then I'll just say the median, that's my score, is about 20. And then we went through that where I can go to the R code and see that the median is in fact 20 and then go through these values here. And the box plot is a great visual display. So on task 2 now, we look on here, this is actually skewed left because if I draw that, you see a tail to the left. And I would say the typical score looks to be about 75. So I'm just going to go here, put on that, it's skewed left. And then I will also just say the score is about 75. And then I'm going to go back here, see if I accidentally deleted that. Yeah, so go back. Say it is skewed left, and then about 75. Again, it's easier to see the typical score using the box plot. So on here, there is an outlier of about 20. And then the typical score, again, it looks to be about 75. So if I made a histogram of that, you can actually change the number of breaks too, to just kind of view it better. And then I can make a box plot here. I can make a horizontal box plot if you want to see it that way. So it looks like the outlier is actually about 15 and then 75 is about correct. To view that, we can do the median and the summary statistics and see that below here it is about 75. So moving back, we can go to this where it said bell-shaped curve. So if you notice, this looks kind of like a bell. If I put a top over that, you'll learn in later statistics classes that normal distribution has a bell-shaped curve. This isn't necessarily a normal distribution. It might be approximately normal, but we'd have to look at the data and kind of the outliers and some assumptions to look at if it's approximately normal, which is kind of beyond the scope of this. So on here, the shape is bell-shaped. And then the typical score is about 20, or about 70, I'm sorry. Right in the middle here, if you look, it looks to be about 70. And then on here, there are no outliers, so there's no dots above or below. And then the score looks to be about 75. And then that is the median. And then we're going to use that R code to look at it. So here, I just changed the color to be green, just to show you can do different colors here. Here's a box plot that is vertical. Here's a horizontal one. And then it looks like it's actually not 70. It looks like to be about 72 or maybe 75. So looking at the summary statistics, it is 72.50 is the median. Moving on now, we're going to look at the uniform distribution. So the typical score, they all seem to be the same. I'm not sure what's going on here, but looking down here, it all looks like every number is 75. And the distribution is flat. And then moving to here, again, the typical score is 75. There are no outliers. In fact, every number is 75. So the minimum, the median, the first quartile, the third quartile, the maximum, everything is 75. So on that, it's just a line on the box plot. There's no variation in the data, so everything's the same. Every number is on that line. Then looking at the summary statistics too, you notice everything, the mean, the median, every number is the same. So now what you're going to do is struggle a little bit with the practice problems, identify the shapes of these, find the means, medians, and such of everything in here, and then just place them in the appropriate spot. And then go ahead and do your check for understanding.